James Gunn has said that the Guardians of the Galaxy are more like a family. But who's the daddy? Who's the mommy? Who's the crazy hyper-political uncle at Thanksgiving? I'm Hector Navarro, and we've got all those answers coming up on Screen Junkies News. Not only is it Groundhog Day, it's Guardians of the Galaxy Day, Internet! Back in September, in a Facebook interview, James Gunn said of his hyper-awesome space convicts that, quote, the first movie was really about becoming a family. This movie, meaning Volume 2, is about being a family. We've heard that sentiment echoed by basically all the members of the cast ever since, and now, in a USA Today article from yesterday, we've learned more about what that might look like when the film hits theaters in May. Here to help me break some of that stuff down right now for you, we have got Matt Key, Jay Washington, and Dan Merle. Guys, what's up, everybody?
What, a lot?
Okay, great. That's it.
What was this though?
This is the way that I can switch to different cameras like this. Boom, 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 boom. Nope, it didn't work. Nothing happened. All right.
You can't actually do that.
Okay, guys, let's get into it. Okay, before we have all of this talk about family, first question to you, Matt. Isn't there a more famous set of characters that are considered a family in Marvel Comics?
There are. We're talking about the Inhumans, right?
No,
I'm just kidding. It's the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is commonly being referred to as the first family of the Marvel comic universe. They were the first big comic book that Stan Lee did to kind of revitalize the brand, start the Silver Age and all that, followed by Spider-Man. But Fantastic Four is the first family of the Marvel Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And they've always, for probably about 10 years, they were the standard bearer for all the weirder stories, all the weird characters, like the Watcher came out of that, Silver Surfer, Galactus, Adam Warlock, the Kree, the Skrulls, for at least 200 issues.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four was the comic, like them and Spider-Man.
When we talk about family dynamics, what exactly does that mean in terms of what kind of roles do they play within the rest of the Marvel universe? Does that mean that Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, is like the patriarch of the Marvel universe? Is that kind of what that means? Yeah,
I mean, Reed Richards is he's an incredibly intelligent man. He kind of was, led a lot of the scientific research. He was kind of he's the one who created the ultimate nullifier to defeat Galactus, all that stuff. And he's been someone who has been sought after by Tony Stark, Hank McCoy, all of the other hyper-intelligent.
He was the Tony Stark before Tony Stark.
Tony Stark,
the way Tony Stark is thought of now as the brains of the Marvel universe. That was Reed.
It was Reed Richards.
Unstable
for the
Molecules
60s and 70s.
was him.
Yep.
It was him. The costumes. Every superhero had a costume made by him.
And Hank Pym was there and all these others, but Reed Richards kind of was the glue that held that entire scientific Illuminati together.
Big brain. Great. Question for you, Dan.
Yes.
With Marvel Studios not having the rights to the Fantastic Four, they're over at Fox, probably prepping a new Miles Teller sequel hit smash. Do you think that, okay guys, calm down, it's a joke. Do you guys think that Marvel Studios are trying to fill that cinematic hole with Guardians of the Galaxy?
I think that they've done a pretty good job of filling that void in the MCU with Tony Stark. Tony Stark has taken on a lot of the role that Reed Richards had in the MCU. I think that if they get Hank Pym, if they get Michael Douglas involved, it's going to be even more. I think they've got enough on their plate right now. I'm sure they would love to have the Fantastic Four, but I think that they filled that hole pretty well. Superhero groups are families. I think they've done a good job of setting up the Avengers as this kind of dysfunctional family. That's what Civil War was all about. It was basically a family splitting apart. And I think that even in the tradition of the comic books, so many times a group of they're all surrogate families or actual families like the Fantastic Four. So I don't know if this is replacing the Fantastic Four so much as they're building this dynamic, this new group dynamic to kind of be
It already feels
a
very
separate
Marvel.
Avengers team. Yeah, exactly.
That's just a
It's
kind
very
of a Marvel
Marvel
thing. It's
Yeah.
a very Marvel thing. Yeah, Matt, you wanted to add something?
Well, yeah, the Fantastic Four was very much like a nuclear family,
Yes.
Johnny, the only person who wasn't related to in the Fantastic Four was Ben Grimm. He was kind of like the best friend uncle character, but Johnny was the brother to Sue. Sue was married to Reed. So they were a nuclear family. We really don't have that in the Marvel universe, but I don't know that Marvel is missing that. I don't know that Marvel needs to fill that hole in.
Question to you, Jay.
Yes.
Jay.
Hector.
If they're not missing the Fantastic Four, are Marvel Studios missing anything else? Is there any other IPs that they don't have the rights to, X-Men, that they're missing and are trying to fill that gap?
I think when you say people, we know that they're missing X-Men, but again, we brought up the Inhumans. They're doing that. They're offsetting that. They can't have the mutants, so they have the Inhumans. Now, will that be successful when they do this miniseries and everything?
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
You've got the Defenders now. You're bringing them in. They're trying to offset all these properties they don't have with properties they do have. You know, everybody's like, oh, well, will they get Fantastic Four back? How bad can it be? You know, if they get it, yeah. If they do, they do. They don't, they don't. We won't really care.
Sure.
We won't really care. You got Guardians. Again, Inhumans, Defenders, Avengers. What more do you need?
Yeah. And if they need something, just to go off of what Jay's saying, if they need something, they're going to go out and get it. Because Ego, the Living Planet, the rights to this character, this concept, who Kurt Russell is playing in the new movie, belonged with Fox.
Which they switched off for Negasonic Teenage Warhead and for Deadpool.
Exactly, which is crazy. And it doesn't. I looked at that, and apparently it went down like this. Negasonic Teenage Warhead was a character from X-Men comics, but they switched her powers for the Deadpool movie because her powers weren't the same. And just because of that, Marvel could then claim, like, well, then that's not an X-Men, like, that's our character.
That's our character,
If you're doing that. But to do that, give us Ego, the Living Planet. That's
And you're
crazy.
good. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I think that's the big thing about Fantastic Four. It's not necessarily getting, like, Human Torch and thing and all that.
Yeah.
It's really about, we want to have Galactus and Kang the Conqueror and, you know,
Silver Surfer.
and all those other, and the Scrolls and
I think
maybe the Watcher, you know.
Well, the
like,
Kree is now in. The Kree's in the
Kree are
MCU.
in the MCU. Yeah, that's kind of, they're bringing that into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they brought that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And I think we first saw the Kree, or maybe we didn't. No, we first saw the Kree on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And
but
it's
we
now
also
Guardians
saw
of the
them-
Galaxy 1 with
Ronan the Accuser, yeah.
So you got that, but the Skrulls, we don't know if they'll bring that in. Again, that's a Fox thing now with it being in the Fantastic Four library. Do people want to see the Skrulls?
Yeah.
Will Marvel negotiate for it? What does Marvel have to give up per se?
Do you guys think that
that-
Marvel does this stuff as negotiation tactics? That they look to Fox and they go, yeah, you have the Skrulls, but we don't need them. We'll just use the Chitauri, and we won't say that they're shapeshifters for our Avengers movie. We don't care.
Yeah.
I
Is
think
it a
they're very
negotiation
savvy.
tactic?
I think they know where their opening is and they pounce. Like with Spider-Man, I'm sure that they wanted Spider-Man, and they saw an opportunity. They saw that Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't work. They saw that franchise was in trouble, and I think that they said, okay, this is our time. So they have so many characters.
Same with Hulk.
Yeah.
They have so many
with
characters.
Universal.
Same with
And,
Hulk Universal.
I'm sure would Marvel love to have all of their characters and
course
make
they would.
all of their
Absolutely.
movies about X-Men. Yes, of course they would, but I think that they're very smart as far as they're not just going to go and give up something that they don't want to give
Right.
up.
Yeah.
Just to get a character. I think they're going to bide their time, and if they see an opportunity, I think they're going to jump at
And
it.
going off of that, I think Marvel's happy. I think they're kind of happy not having the X-Men. I think they're safe. They're fine.
it's a lot. It's
a lot. I don't know how you would incorporate that. I think that if Marvel had that, it would be a completely
I got an
separate
idea.
universe. No,
I got an
and I'm
idea.
not saying I wouldn't love to see that. I would love to see that.
But it's a lot.
But it's a lot.
whole
But
phase,
Fantastic
it's a whole
Four
focus.
would,
Yeah.
that entire mythos, that universe would mix in
Easy.
very well with the cinematic
Easy to
universe.
do.
and I
In
think
general,
they
the
would love
comic book geekdom always wanted, when they said they were going to do Civil War, the whole big thing was, how can you do it without the X-Men? How can you do it without Fantastic Four? Marvel was like, we can do this.
Yeah.
We're not worried about it. Like you said, we're not worried about it. We
Yeah.
would love to have them,
Yeah.
but we don't need them.
Basically,
Yeah.
what they need the X-Men for to mix up with the rest of their characters is if they ever want to do a movie, Avengers versus X-Men. Then you kind of need the X-Men. You
Yeah.
can't just do like Avengers versus the characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. who are Inhumans. It's like, they're dead. You can't do that.
can't do
Come on.
I've always had this weird opinion of after Infinity Wars, I would be perfectly fine if Marvel dropped their shared cinematic universe entirely and went to making one-offs.
Oh, I don't like what you're saying, but keep going.
I think if they could kind of shift their resources, they're done with making 5 movies a year for a while, and I think they finish their story that they're telling, and then I think would be the time if they want to go to Fox and say, we want to partner up with you and do a Fantastic Four movie.
I think
we
you're
want
right.
to get Wolverine and do a Hulk Wolverine movie.
Oh, my
I think
God.
that I would love to see Marvel
I think
take
everyone
that
would love to
check
see that.
because
Yeah.
after Infinity War, it feels like that's it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
where
no,
are
I
you going to
agree.
go? And I would love if they're like, okay, we did this great, huge, 10+ year long sprawling story. That's in the books. Let's make
Yeah.
these other great movies now.
Yeah.
Damn it. I have the Wolverine Hulk comic in my backpack that I should have grabbed that I would just hold up right now and be, you want to grab it? You want to go for it? That's not my backpack.
That's
it's
mine.
the Nickelodeon one in the it's a cover that's True Believers, and it's exactly what Dan was saying. But guys, let's get back to Guardians of the Galaxy for a second. Let's talk about this really interesting and cool family dynamic. Here's some quotes that director James Gunn has said, or rather the cast has said. Chris Pratt has said about Star-Lord. No, these are from the USA Today article. So thank you. This is the one. Look at this. Well, we'll talk about the quote first.
Yeah.
Pull that up again. USA Today said that Star-Lord has taken responsibility for his wild bunch of intergalactic ex-convicts who have to fight to stay as a family as their leader comes to grips with finally finding his father. That's going to be a huge threat in this film. Groot is like a baby now, and quote, having a child around drives Peter Quill, and Drax crazy. So Baby Groot is what everybody is calling the character. His name Baby Groot. That's another great quote that we can look look to and look at the family dynamic. Gamora and Rocket are the ones who care for Groot, and Drax makes a new friend in Mantis. Dave Bautista says about his character, he looks like he's a big, tough brute, but there's a sense of innocence and heartbreak about him. I think that we all saw that in the trailers. I think that we even saw that in the first film. Also, just going off of all of that, talking about the family dynamics, director James Gunn tweeted just this morning that Ego, the living planet, played by Kurt Russell, has been a good guy, has been a bad guy. Sometimes he wants to F a moon. That is what happened in the comic books. He's a very multi-layered character. So I think we are going to get that father figure, but I think he's also saying he's the main antagonist, kind of. There's a possibility of that, too. Does this make you guys excited? Do you think these relationships hold up?
Well, Kurt Russell being Chris Pratt's dad makes me excited.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's
that alone, just to see
that's
that.
pretty awesome. And people keep forgetting that Sylvester Stallone's in this movie somehow.
And Sharon Stone somewhere too.
I was at the Hall H panel, and they when they showed the Guardians footage, they showed a very quick, brief shot of Sylvester Stallone, and the entire audience was like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
And he was but he was dressed as a Nova Corps.
Yeah.
He was and I'm like,
he's going to be the new Glenn Close? Like he's going to be the new Nova Prime?
oh man, that would be.
Because that might be a role, the same way that the head of the IMF in the Mission Impossible movies was a different, legendary actor each film. Was Lawrence Fishburne, Anthony Hopkins, all these different guys. Is it
what I would love?
Sly Stallone?
You know what I would love for them to sneak in? That he is actually Richard Rider and he's part of the Nova Corps. He's not the Nova.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
Dude, can you imagine if
he was Sam Alexander's dad, why not?
That would also be cool.
Come on.
But if he was Sam Alexander's dad, or if he's Richard Rider and he's been in the Nova Corps for 20 years and we've just never heard about him.
I love it.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
And
I would love
Sylvester
that.
Stallone
I don't think that's what it
played
is.
a character named Dick Ryder. That would be awesome too. That would be so great.
To answer your question, I am excited about this dynamic, and I think it works, and I think it's very funny. So
awesome. Jay, you were talking about this a little bit before, but why is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 the one that you're most trepidatious about of the 3 Marvel Studios films coming out this year?
Because they did it.
Because they did it.
Unexpectedly. For the first Guardians, no one knew what to expect. This was a completely different entity from anything that non-comic book fans had seen.
Yeah.
You did a movie that was completely based not on Earth at all.
Yeah.
You took a space-based movie with characters and you brought them to life, and everybody loved it. The dynamic was amazing. Now you got to catch that lightning in the bottle twice.
yeah, it's a good
That's
point.
the one
So
thing.
you're not worried about Spider-Man Homecoming or Thor Ragnarok? Why?
Like I said, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, what can possibly go wrong? We've seen 5 Spider-Man movies that everybody wanted to stab himself with a spoon. We've seen 2 Thor movies that they were like, come on, Chris Hemsworth, you're better than this.
Sure.
What can possibly go wrong?
So those are going to be better than what we've seen.
They're going to be better. You
but-
get the inclusion of Thor and the Hulk in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming, you got Tony Stark in the movie. You got Michael Keaton. You got all these amazing characters building this up.
Sure.
Marvel has this movie, nothing to worry about. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it's like, all right, do we see the same movie over again?
Yeah.
It's so much easier to defy expectations than to meet expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
Well said,
Guardians
Dan.
of the Galaxy
All right.
defied expectations.
Let me
Now
hit
it
you
has
with a
to
quote,
meet it.
Dan. Let me hit you with a quote. This is
Yeah.
James Gunn. Maybe the most exciting thing he said about the film, he said, the first movie was successful because we took chances and gave people the unexpected. This movie can only really be what it is. Guardians can only be what they are. If they're taking a risk, it means giving them a much different movie. What do you think he means by different? What do you think he means by taking a risk? Does this bode well? What do you think?
If you look at James Gunn's movie, he doesn't make safe movies. He makes movies that challenge people. He makes movies that, if you look at Super.
I finally saw Super.
That
Yeah.
is,
That
is a movie that you go in expecting one thing, and that is not the movie that you think you're going to get.
The Crimson Bolt.
And I think that he genuinely cares about these characters.
Yes.
He does. And I think that he's probably, next to maybe the Russos, the director over there that has the most clout as far as telling whoever, Feige or whoever, these are my characters and I'm going to do what I want with them.
Yeah.
And you can advise
And
me.
they seem to trust him.
And
with
they
that
seem to
as well.
trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I as a director, I have no reason to distrust him. He never takes the easy way out. We'll see what he does. Does that mean it's going to work? No, he may try something new that doesn't work, but it's going to be something different, which is what, again, Marvel needs severely is different.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that made the first Guardians so good, is that it was so wildly different. So it would be interesting, again, how do you catch that lightning in a bottle
do you
twice?
do it?
I think if there's someone who can do it, it is James Gunn, but oof. Like,
I mean, we're all gonna
hard.
go. We're all gonna go into this movie now. Like, all right, I remember what 1 was. Volume 1
yeah.
was. I was thoroughly pleased.
I'm gonna rewatch 1 like the day before,
I'm
which
still
is
trying to
probably
figure
gonna
out
hurt
what-
it. Like,
Yeah.
I still want to know what that Easter egg is, James Gunn. The one that nobody can supposedly find in Volume 1. We still want to know what that is.
maybe somebody on the internet already found it. Let's throw it over to our social media cam, Charlie Feldman.
Yeah.
Charlie, what is the internet saying about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? What are some stuff that they want to see?
So I'll let you know that in just a second, but I do want to mention that James Gunn talking about Ego trying to bone moons. Here's $5 on the table. Papa Was a Rolling Stone is going to be his song on the soundtrack. I bet you. Came out in 72
Yes.
Temptation. That's going to happen.
Yes.
Well done, Charlie. Well done, Charlie.
The other thing was we were talking about the Skrull and the Kree. This is what James Gunn said about the Skrull. Marvel only partially owns Skrulls, and also for the record, we don't own the Badoon. Some people are asking why we have the Saccharins in the film. We don't own the Badoon. So just to clarify that.
Good to know.
Okay, but we asked Twitter what sort of plot lines we want to see in Guardians of the Galaxy from potentially the Guardians of the Galaxy comics. No one was very specific, but people want to see, like Eric wants to see Groot and Rocket become best friends. So not necessarily a prequel, but maybe a flashback.
Oh, yeah.
Very cute.
Give them their own movie.
Nathan Keane wants to see Gamora and Star-Lord finally get it on.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to see it. With the
yes.
scene with Mantis, I think it's on its way.
Yeah, I think that might happen. That's a great call. I'm not going to take that bet, Charlie, that $5 bet, because I bet you're going to be right.
I bet
But thank
that.
you so
I'm
much,
pretty much
Charlie.
It's pretty, yeah.
Hey,
That's pretty.
That's spot on.
That's pretty spot on.
Hate to say it, Dan, Charlie Feldman, best hats at Screen Junkies. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, man.
Hey, listen, I'm a one-trick pony as far
That's
as
it.
hats
Just,
go.
that's it. One trick pony.
But you wear a lot of hats here, so.
I do.
Wow.
Metaphorical
Wow.
hats.
Done.
I see what you did.
Charlie with the rim shot.
Very
That's
smart,
why
very
they
smart.
put me on the side.
Guys, I have to show this bad boy off. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this. Come on. If this was a movie, if this was a Mark Ruffalo and then a new actor playing Wolverine comes out of the forest like, I'm not done with you yet, bub. Come on. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
you do it. Go get this. It's only $1. It's True Believers comic. Go get it.
The Lindelof. Didn't he write a
Ultimate Hulk versus Wolverine. It was fantastic.
wow. It was
Hulk
really,
ripped
really good.
Wolverine in half, and then Wolverine had to crawl to get his lower half. And
And then it took him a year. It took him a year to write the last part of it. So like all of us were like,
He was right
how
at
does-
last. Yeah,
how does
that
he-
was dope. I
Yeah.
would pay to see that in a movie very much.
that would
yes,
be
I would.
pretty
Guys,
awesome.
big thanks to our panel. Big thanks to Charlie for helping us out on the social media cam. We want to know what you guys think. We want to know what kind of storylines you want to see in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You guys can always be clicking right here to see more new videos. We've got stuff every single day. You can be tweeting at us at SJ News and let us know how excited you are for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm Hector Navarro. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.